Trump was giving the COVID press briefings daily.
Yep.
He saw his highest approval rating in aggregate for his entire presidency. They immediately said he's lying, shut down the events, and they cut away and stopped covering them.
Yep.
That was smart on their part. They have done some things that have benefited them.
Smart. Do you hear that, America? The media doesn't want you to see it, and they call it smart. I'm just pointing that out.
Well, I'm calling it smart in terms of their strategy.
For them.
Right.
But you're right.
That was their strategy.
Yeah, cut the people off from the president of the United States.
Well, look,
because they don't want them to actually hear what the president has to say. Because newsflash, he's actually a good president.
When people hear Trump, he does better. Right. Recently, Trump's approval rating has been going up, and the pollsters attribute this to him reviving press briefings on COVID.
Yep.
Because people, when they hear what he has to say, all of a sudden they start liking the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because the media lies all the time. Trump is far from perfect, but man, does the media lie about everything.
Yep.
So listen, the point I was making is there's a few things the left has done that has benefited them. The left, the media, and the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it's like they're 5 steps behind Trump. So something happens.
4D chess.
Yeah. It's you know what I think? I don't think Trump is playing 4D chess. I think Trump is playing chess. I think the Democrats are playing checkers.
Trump's been preparing for his presidency since the 80s. I know it, dude. He's been prepping for this. He knows what he's doing. He was friends with all the Democrats. He knew how they played the game. He was part of their. He was in the circles. He was aware, and now he went against them, and now they're like, whoa. I mean, you see what happened in 2016 and how they've ramped up their anti-Trump rhetoric. It's like, dude, he knows what he's doing, and he's smart. He's gonna win this fall.
Well, that's good news for the media.
Yeah,
it's great news for the media.
Yeah, let's talk about
Take a look at this article, everybody. From Digiday. There's no antagonist. News outlets mull the possible end of their editorial and business side Trump bump bonanza. And I want you all to laugh at the fear in their hearts of what it would mean if Trump would lose. But then I want you to throw up in your mouth a little bit when you realize they're cheering for Trump winning.
Yep.
They want him to win. I've talked about this with a couple other people in the past, that CNN secretly wants Trump to win. Of course they do.
Yep.
Because he's their whole existence. I tell you what, man. There's something called, what do I call it? The CNN challenge?
Oh, what's that?
It's where you put on Fox News at a random time during the day, and then see what they're talking about, and then change the channel to CNN, and they'll be talking about Trump.
Yeah, call it that.
Yeah. So I've posted this. If you check out my Instagram, instagram.com/Timcast, I posted 2 videos where it's like I turn on Fox and they're like, we've got a major serious weather storm front coming up to the Gulf. It's going to be reaching these states. You know, make sure you buy supplies. And I'm like, all right, severe weather, you know, possible risk to the American people. Switch to CNN. It's a panel where they're like, now Donald Trump may be the worst president, but with. So then a few days later, I'm like flipping through. I turn on Fox News and it's like riots have erupted in Iran, could challenge the government. And I'm like, wow, international affairs. I put on CNN. Now, Donald Trump, is he the worst president? I certainly think he's the worst president. That's the game they play.
Yep.
So they know what it means. They know what it means if Trump loses. And it's a really interesting thing because a lot of the progressives have been complaining about this.
Okay.
If you follow the progressive circles, they complain about how it's all Trump all the time and how that helps Trump. So remember that woman, we just had that story of that MSNBC reporter who resigned.
Okay.
One of the complaints she had was that even when it's not about Trump, when it's about Biden, they somehow try and make it Trump.
Yep.
The media, I wouldn't say that they're trying to make Trump win, but I will say they love the opportunity. And what ends up happening is they inadvertently help him by giving him endless free press. And you know what's interesting is when I see a story and the media lies, like they'll put out a story where it's like, you know, Donald Trump does bad thing. When I see that, my reaction isn't, oh no, Donald Trump did a bad thing. It's, I am sick and tired of the lies.
Yep.
And it makes me really want to just slam that Trump button in spite of the deception and just the duplicitousness. I do not like being taken advantage of. And I really, really don't like it when people try to manipulate me.
Well, these news medias are acting like the internet doesn't exist. They're acting as if people can't circumvent their news media. Like, we can't just go fact check ourselves and watch his press briefings live.
And
while it's actually going on YouTube, on whatever. There's countless different places you can watch it.
And that's why they're trying to shut us down.
That's true.
That's why they ban people who say things like learn to code, a simple joke. They're like an opportunity to ban and purge people. You're gone. They don't want you to have that ability. They suspend the president's own tweets.
Yep.
And they make up the BS copyright claims on satire.
And they
call them fake news.
They label accurate tweets false information, like what happened to you yesterday.
Yep. They play dirty games where Trump will say something and they'll take it out of context on purpose to claim it's false.
Yep.
Like the famous acid wash fact check. So just quickly, because you got to know this if you don't. Many of you probably do. Trump claimed Hillary Clinton acid washed her server. We all know what he means. We're sane, rational people. He's using it's a figure of speech. And NBC News said false. Hillary Clinton did not use a corrosive chemical on her computer. Well, nobody thought that. Are you nuts?
Yeah.
You take it literally, but what he meant was that she purged the hard drives, which she deleted a bunch of files.
Yeah, and she totally did.
This is you were mentioning the media doesn't realize that we can go around them.
Yeah, exactly.
I think some of them do, but they know many people won't because they're used to it.
Well, and a lot of people are working. They don't have that much time. There's like the time they do have, they're making food, like, oh, let me just see what's on the news, and I'm doing something. I'm kind of not really paying attention, but I'm getting the information, or at the airport, CNN is in every airport, so they're spreading
they pay millions of dollars for that,
right? To spread their message everywhere, which is lies.
Hillary Clinton was campaigning in 2016, and she was at some Southern event, and she talked with a Southern drawl.
Okay.
And everybody was like, does she not know what the internet is?
Right.
Yes, guess what? Back in the day, when the politicians would travel around the country, they'd show up to Chicago and be like, how's it going, everybody? My name's Tim. I'm here from Chicago, and I'm running for president.
And pretty good. It's pretty good, Chicago.
Yeah, people would be like, hey, talks just like me, this guy, yeah.
I'm going to vote for this guy.
My name's Bob. I make garage doors and garage door openers, and this guy represents me here in Chicago, and I watch the Bears. Then they go to Brooklyn, and they talk with a Brooklyn accent.
Yep.
They go to the South, they talk with a Southern accent.
Oh, you would do so well, man.
Exactly.
You would.
So here we have, look, there really is this mentality among these establishment types, especially someone like Joe Biden. Does he not know that we watch him on camera say words?
He might not.
He doesn't. Yeah,
he might actually not.
He might just.
My favorite was when he was like, and I'm what do I say? What do I say? Like, come on. And he's like trying to
cue card.
Like, what do I say? Come on, give me something to say. It's like,
did you see the one where he just breaks down in the interview and then his staffer turns the interview off and says, "That's all the time we have," and just shuts it off?
Hilarious.
That's scary, man.
I don't know. There's this like little bit of piece of me that it's like, is he faking it? Is he really that demented?
He's gonna wonk us.
Yeah, he's gonna wonk us, man. He's gonna come out there and just be like, "Well, I'm actually Joe Biden, and I'm ready to fight Donald Trump."
You got to paint the picture better.
All right,
they're gonna wheel him out in a wheelchair, and he's gonna have a blanket on his lap, and then he's gonna struggle to stand up, and he's gonna be shaking, and then he's gonna fall straight forward, and everyone's gonna gasp. Then he's going to do a perfect somersault, jump right up and go, hey, and he's going to mosey on over and he's going to do a little shuffle dance. Willy Wonka. No, I really don't believe it.
I don't know.
So so right now, Trump is saying Biden wants to defund the police. That's technically true. Joe Biden was asked if he would be in favor of redirecting funds, and he said, yes, absolutely.
Yep.
It's like these people don't know they're on camera.
Even Kamala Harris has been, she hasn't been on record on actually saying defund the police, but she was applauding the LA mayor for defunding the police.
These people have no politics.
No.
I'll tell you what I see. All right. There's always room to criticize Trump, but when I see Trump, he's like, here's the things I want to do.
Yep.
And I'm like, I believe he wants to do those things.
Yep, I agree.
Trump says, I'm going to build a big, beautiful wall from sea to shining sea. And the best he can do is bollard fencing. But he wanted border security. I can understand his general idea. He really did want massive, thick walls.
And it's to help stop human trafficking.
A lot of things.
Which is a big issue. And he's fighting it, dude.
The wall issue is a perfect example of Trump's mistakes and his intention.
Okay.
Trump wanted border security. To him, he said, big, beautiful wall, 30 feet high from sea to shining sea. ICE and CBP came to him and said, we need to be able to see through it because there might be people on the other side and we need to know where they're going.
Okay.
And it was like, oh, that's why bollard fencing makes more sense.
Yeah.
You do a big wall, you won't know where they're going. So then for budgeting reasons and for, strategy and tactics, they decide to do the fencing instead. But what Trump was really telling the American people was, I want to guarantee the security of this nation and its southern border.
Yeah.
If you think about what he says and his intention, you believe him, and then he did it.
Yep.
There's a lot of things he didn't get done. He wanted to make Mexico pay for it. You can argue about, tax incentives and trade-offs and free trade, whatever. But the point is, he didn't get everything he wanted because he comes from a business background. And this is what I see. He comes from a world where when you're running a business, you can snap your fingers and tell your staffers and your commanders, here's what I need done, go do it. He enters government, and now there's red tape everywhere. Yeah. And he's trying to move through it, and it's difficult. But you can see his intent is legitimate.
But even as a businessman, even in that field that he was in, he made moves where a lot of other people would be sitting there going, how do we make this happen? When he was actually out there going, I'm going to make this happen, and then doing it and making it happen. So him building the wall, like what you said, he wanted to build it for security of our nation, but then you followed it up by on the southern border. You didn't even need to say that because that's literally what people want. They want security in our nation.
Absolutely.
And Joe Biden is not that.
Right.
And Trump is he said it. That's what his plan is. He's proven time and time again throughout his entire career, when he says something, he follows through with it.
Trump, the reason I bring that up is that when Trump says he wants to do something, I legitimately believe he means it.
Agreed.
He's like, we're going to bring back jobs. It's going to be better than ever. The TPP was awful. NAFTA was a terrible trade deal. First thing he does, he nukes TPP.
Yep.
He starts renegotiating NAFTA. And here's what I see. Whether you disagree with him or not, that's fine. But you look at what Trump is doing, and I'm like, he means what he says. Mm-hmm. You look at Joe Biden, he'll say whatever you tell him to say.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, what are you going to vote for?
Whatever his handlers tell him to say.
I look at Joe Biden, and I'm like, I have no idea what he wants to do other than sniff kids. No, I'm not.
Or have him sit on his lap or touch his legs. Or
yeah.
Whatever he says about it.
It's creepy. Listen, but I really do mean this. What does Joe Biden want to do for this country?
Okay.
Is he for Medicare for all? Is he opposed to it? I don't know. He's flip-flopped, and he's tried to pander to the far left, and he's public option. He says a moratorium on deportations. Now he's saying buy America, build back better. He's trying to emulate Trump. He's tough on China, but then he says China, they're good people, and you can't blame them for this. Which is it? He put out an ad where he was like, Trump is soft on China. And I was like, are you insane?
What?
He really did that.
Yep. And then you got Pelosi coming out going, well, China wants Joe Biden to be president. And it's like, you're acting like a crazy old person. The crazy ones. Not all old people are crazy, but the Pelosi is one of those crazy old people with the claw hands.
I'll put it this way. I'm gonna tell you something.
This is the way it is.
If you captured, what's a better word? If you mandated for the debate between Trump and Biden and Kamala, and they were administered with a truth serum,
ooh,
do you know what Trump would end up saying?
The exact same
stuff.
The
exact same stuff.
Yep.
He'd be insulting people. He'd be like, no, listen, morons. They have no idea what they're talking about. And people would be like, he's
Wrong.
not any different. Excuse me. Right. Excuse me. I'm correct, but that's what he'd be saying.
Right,
excuse me. Wrong. No. Terrible deal. And people in the audience would be like, but we gave him the truth serum. Why?
China.
Yes, exactly. He'd be saying that too.
Yep.
You give the truth serum to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and Joe Biden would be like, look, my number one priority on day one is to assume power and have power and be in control, benefit my family and get them lucrative jobs in 4 countries and make sure they can live well. And I have no interest at all in the American people.
And these people just told me to say that, and now I'm being told I shouldn't be saying anything anymore. It's like, go back
Harris
to your basement.
Would be like, listen, I'm here because I want power over other people. And I want them to go to prison because it's funny to me.
And I probably make money because I've made deals with them.
That's all they care about, man.
I don't know if that's true, by the way. I just kind of
threw
that out there.
This is why I can't stand the establishment, and that includes Republicans. They represent to me people who just want the keys to the castle. Mm-hmm. It's all they've ever wanted. And you know what? I blame myself a little bit. I think I blame a lot of Americans, a lot of people who don't vote. But I really do blame the people who keep voting back and forth. There's actually, it's an interesting conundrum where I didn't vote in the past following Obama because I'm like, what's the point? Mitt Romney? No. Barack Obama? Sorry, fool me once. And then we get, in 2016, I see Trump and I see Hillary, and I'm like, nah, I'm just not interested. We're at a point now where we're seeing how bad it really gets. Trump has really improved. What is this look on your face? What is this? He's got a smile on his face.
God, I have a feeling I know where you were going with this.
When was the last time Trump said something inappropriate about another person?
I don't know. He's been
have you-
he's been rather presidential of late.
He has been. He's been pretty good about this. He hasn't said anything super insulting. In fact, someone was just saying that when he contains it, his approval rating goes up, which is really weird, right?
And I was thinking about it.
He won the presidency being that obnoxious person anyway. So if his approval rating has just gone up from there, I'm voting for him. I didn't vote for him last time.
It was Hillary, man.
But I didn't want to. I didn't want to interrupt you. My smile, I couldn't hold it back.
Oh, I see.
But you were go ahead. Don't stop.
In 2016, I was initially on the Bernie Sanders. I don't want to call it a train. It was a Trump train and the Bernie Sanders Volkswagen or something. And I was because I thought Bernie was more like Trump. Okay. He actually was. But Bernie sold out in 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as given the opportunity to be a millionaire, he was like, do you vote for the establishment and ignore the millionaires. They're okay now. As soon as he made all that money. You look at what he's saying now. Actually, I think I might have, I don't know if I have an article about it, but there was, I actually do. Check this out. From Forbes, Bernie Sanders. Congratulations to Kamala Harris, who will make history as our next vice president. She understands what it takes to stand up for working people, fight for health care for all, and take down the most corrupt administration in history. Let's get to work and win. And let me give you a pseudo applause, Bernie, because Bernie Sanders, one of his former staffers, Brianna Joy Gray, says, "We are in the midst of the largest protest movement in American history, the subject of which is excessive policing. And the Democratic Party chose a top cop and the author of the Joe Biden crime bill to save us from Trump. The contempt for the base is wow."
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. But I'm highlighting this to talk about Bernie Sanders. In 2016, Bernie said, TPP, terrible. NAFTA, awful deal. Open borders, Koch brothers proposal. We don't want any of that. Mm-hmm. And I'm listening to him and I'm like, here, brother. I hear you, Bernie. And I'm like, here's a guy who's been in office for decades, who stood up for these issues time and time again. Here he is now, standing up for the working people, opposing the wealthy, money in politics, all these bad things. And I was like, I'm here for it, even though I really disagree with a lot of his far left policies. There was enough there I liked. And I actually talked to a lot of people throughout the 2016 campaign. When Bernie finally dropped out and it was obvious it was going to be Hillary, I met these guys in Anaheim who told it was an older dude and two younger guys. And they ended up getting beaten up by the far left, chased out and spit on and hit. They told me that they were Bernie Sanders supporters who switched for Trump because Trump was the only other guy who was offering up anything to the working class. And all these other people who are now supporting Hillary Clinton, they don't even know what they're talking about.
Right.
They end up getting attacked, of course. So we end up seeing Bernie Sanders flipping. And now I'm kind of like, okay, so I stood out and I was like, whatever, man, what a ridiculous election. I don't care. Fool me once. I'm not playing these games. Now we're at a point where Trump really has chilled out. And that's a fact. That you like the thing, like there was a lot he was doing, and I explained this back in the day, that really put off moderate liberal types, inappropriate behavior, things that are funny but not the president should be doing. The last two press conferences Trump had, super calm. Yep. Thank you for your question. Yes,
calm,
absolutely.
Collected,
yep.
Killing it.
I think he was waiting until we got closer to the VP announcement, and now he's going to be more stoic, more rational, more chilled out. At least that's what I'm seeing now. So I was thinking about everything we're seeing with the far left, with the riots, what Trump's actions have been, how the media has lied. And now I'm thinking, you know what? I've said this several times. The far left would be better served by another 4 years of Trump to finally end the crony establishment.
Boom.
That's it. Keep them out. Then in 4 years, the far left can step up with a better candidate and get rid of the Pelosi's, the Schumers, the Bidens, the Kamalas. Don't let them win. I don't think they're going to win at this point. But that's what I see. And I've been talking about for a while. Listen, man, Trump is the bull rampaging through the ivory tower and the establishment is being forced out and they're desperately trying to hold on. You give Trump 4 more years, you might not like him personally or his policies. The far left has a better chance of getting their policies enacted with Trump as the president than as the Democrats retaining establishment control and kicking all populists out. Not that I want them to win on a lot of things. I actually lean left on many issues, but they're way too far left for my tastes. But I'll tell you this, if the establishment wins, the far left will be pushed out, and so will the populist right.
Yep.
All populists will just be crushed. They will immediately seize the reins. Social media will silence and ban everybody anti-war, anybody who's populist. They're already trying to do it.
Yep.
So that's why I'm sitting here now.
Well,
and that's just one of the reasons, honestly.
Think about, all the presidents, every president, they come into office, they have a really good approval rating, and they tend to go down over time.
Yeah.
It was the opposite.
It went down and then started climbing back
he
up.
came in low, and it's just been climbing and climbing.
Technically.
Oh, well, all right. I'm
as soon as
generalizing it.
He got elected and saw a big spike, and then it just dropped off.
Right.
But it's slowly been going up.
But then you think about why. You think about Russiagate. You think he called it treason today on his press briefing.
Obamagate.
He called Biden by name, Obama by name, all these other people that were part of it, Comey. He was like, it's treason what they did. They spied on me. They used FISA to
phony FISA BS.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was bad, man.
And his approval rating is just going up and up and up. Hey, dude, he's gonna make some moves.
I don't trust the polls.
I don't trust the polls either.
I saw a meme. There was like there's a meme post on Facebook, and it said, "My neighbor across the street used to fly a Trump flag.
Okay.
One day I noticed that the flag was gone, and I was out mowing the lawn, and he came over and we started talking, and he's like, I mentioned the bumper sticker on my car for a progressive candidate, and he asked me about her, and I told her, and then I asked him, why did you take your Trump flag down? And he said, it's because my grandson came to me and asked me why I supported a racist, sexist bigot, and I had no answer, and I realized, if you lose the respect of your grandson, then what have you got? And I was like,
explain to your grandson that he's not any of those things.
No, my response to that is yes. And then everyone standing around started clapping. It didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Of course not.
I was talking. There's a couple. I don't want to drag some people into this, but there's some moderately high profile individuals who host a show, and I was talking to them back in like 2017. They said from Europe, all the news they saw said Hillary, Hillary, Hillary. That's it. Then they came and flew back to the U.S. and landed and saw nothing but Trump signs, and immediately said Trump's going to win. And people laughed at him. They're like, you're nuts. And they were like, you've not been on the ground in these towns. You've not driven around. Tell me, where have you seen the Hillary sign? Yeah, and right now, are there Biden signs? So I get it, man. People are saying they're going to vote against Trump, and that's what they're really doing. I wonder how many people are going to vote, how many people will vote just simply because they hate Trump?
People are having Trump rallies on their own. There's boat rallies happening across this nation right now.
What was that photo of?
I'm bleeding into it. I got you. So one of them, all right, so there's this one picture of just massive Trump. They got like 15 Trump flags all the way up the whole sails. And there's this picture of all these different, boats just rocking the Trump flag. And there's this one guy in a kayak holding up a handwritten Biden 2020 sign. Just
and then, you know what they're trying to say now?
What?
It proves that Trump is it's all the rich people who can afford boats. And it's like, have these people ever financed a boat? Like, how much do you think it costs to finance a boat?
Right.
It's not that much.
No.
Not docking fees and stuff, but these are middle class people.
Yeah.
They got a boat. It's a couple $100 plus docking fees.
And it's all over the place.
Yeah, dude.
I've seen boating in Florida, in Minnesota, in Iowa. Man, where else have I seen it?
Delaware River, right
Delaware
here
River,
in the Philly
here.
area.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was crazy because
everywhere, man.
They big boat parades.
Trump 2020.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify. And we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.